If you're older and masturbate, you need to see this right now. I know, this topic might feel a bit uncomfortable, maybe even a little embarrassing, but what you're about to discover could completely change how you see this practice and your own body. Here's a direct question. Are you sure that the way you masturbate today is actually helping your health? Or could it be that without realizing it, you're doing something that's harming your physical, emotional, and even your overall vitality as the years go by? Most people never hear about this. There are surprising, even shocking, truths about how masturbation affects the body as we age. And trust me, knowing this can be the difference between feeling revitalized or unknowingly draining your energy. But hold on, I'm not here to judge anyone. Far from it. I'm here to show you how to turn something many see as just a momentary pleasure into a powerful tool for self-care, well-being, and yes, even longevity. If you've noticed that your body has changed over time, maybe your sleep isn't what it used to be, your stress levels have increased, or you feel less connected to your own body, then what we're going to discuss here might help you see this phase of life in a completely new light. So stick with me until the end, because some of this information might be exactly what you didn't know you needed to hear. Have you ever stopped to think about the real impact masturbation has on your health as you get older? I know this is a topic surrounded by taboos and can feel a bit uncomfortable for many, but what you're about to discover might completely change your perspective and even improve your physical and emotional health in ways you never imagined. Here's a straightforward question. Do you feel more energized or more drained after you masturbate? It might seem like a silly detail, but your answer can reveal a lot about how your body is coping with aging and how certain habits, ones you might think are harmless, could actually be draining your energy more than helping. What almost no one talks about is how the way you masturbate could be doing more harm than good, especially if it's become something automatic without any real connection to your body or emotions. As we age, our bodies go through hormonal changes, metabolism slows down, and even the way we experience pleasure transforms. But who teaches us how to handle that? No one. The result? Many adults keep masturbating the same way they did 20 or 30 years ago, without realizing that their changing bodies need a new approach. Instead of feeling revitalized, you might end up feeling drained, disconnected, or even emotionally exhausted afterward. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. Masturbation can and should be a source of energy, connection, and self-care, especially as we age. The key is understanding what's changed in your body and how to adapt your practice so it works in your favor. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed a change in your energy or mood after masturbating? Comment 1 if yes, or 0 if you've never really thought about it. I want to know your experience. In the next chapter, I'm going to show you exactly how masturbation impacts your body physically, from your cardiovascular system to your sleep, and how small tweaks can make a massive difference in your overall well-being. So stick around, because what's coming next might surprise you. Now that you understand how masturbation can have a much bigger impact than just momentary pleasure, let's go deeper. What exactly happens to your body when you masturbate? Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that sometimes masturbation leaves you feeling relaxed and at ease, but other times it drains your energy? That's not random. There's a biological reason behind those different sensations. And understanding it could be the key to making masturbation work in your favor. During orgasm, your body releases a cocktail of powerful chemicals, dopamine, endorphins, and oxytocin, responsible for that wave of pleasure, relaxation, and well-being. It's almost like a momentary burst of happiness. On top of that, your blood circulation increases, helping transport oxygen and nutrients throughout your body, even improving mental clarity. But here's an important detail. As we age, the way our bodies respond to these stimuli changes. the release of dopamine and other pleasure hormones slows down, and the impact on your energy levels can be more intense. In other words, what used to give you an energy boost might now leave you feeling tired, especially if masturbation has become rushed or disconnected from your body. But let's focus on the positives. When done mindfully, masturbation brings some incredible health benefits. It improves blood circulation, which supports cardiovascular health and even boosts brain function thanks to better oxygenation. That's why you sometimes feel more clear-headed after an orgasm. It also helps regulate sleep. If you struggle to fall asleep, masturbation can be a natural sleep aid. The release of endorphins helps your body relax deeply, leading to a more restful, restorative sleep, something that often becomes harder as we age. And let's not forget stress relief. Masturbation lowers cortisol levels, the stress hormone, while increasing dopamine and oxytocin, promoting that sense of calm and well-being. But here's the catch. When masturbation turns into a constant escape from frustration, boredom, or anxiety, it can start having the opposite effect. Instead of relaxing you, it can leave you feeling more exhausted and disconnected. So here's a simple but powerful tip. Before you masturbate, ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to? Or am I just trying to avoid something I'm feeling? That one question can completely change your experience. Now, let me know in the comments. Does masturbation help or hurt your sleep? Type good sleep if it helps, or bad sleep if it makes it harder. I'd love to know how this affects you. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the emotional side of this practice and explore how masturbation can become a powerful tool to boost your self-esteem and mental health, or turn into an emotional trap if used the wrong way. Stick with me, because what comes next might completely change how you relate to your own body. Now that you know how masturbation affects your body, it's time to dive even deeper into the emotional side. Let me ask you something real quick. After you masturbate, do you feel relaxed and at peace? Or have you ever felt that weird sense of emptiness or guilt afterward? If that's ever happened to you, know that you're not alone. Masturbation impacts much more than just your physical body. It touches emotional and psychological areas we often don't even notice. And that's where the problem, or the solution, lies. When done consciously, masturbation can be an incredibly powerful act of self-care. It becomes a moment where you reconnect with your body without judgment or pressure. That builds self-love, eases feelings of loneliness, and can even bring emotional relief when you need it most. But when it turns into an automatic escape, something you do just to fill a void, ease boredom, or mask anxiety, it can have the opposite effect. Sure, you might feel a quick wave of relief, but soon after, you're left with that sense of emptiness, maybe even guilt, and feeling more disconnected from yourself. The key here is to ask yourself one simple question. Why am I doing this right now? Is it real desire, or am I trying to escape from something I'm feeling? That alone can completely change how you experience masturbation. It doesn't have to be just about physical release. It can be a tool to strengthen your mental health, your self-awareness, and even your emotional balance. But it requires presence and intention, not just going through the motions. Now, I'm curious, how do you usually feel after? Drop a comment saying, I feel good, if it lifts your mood, or I feel guilty, if you sometimes struggle with that emotional aftermath. Let's be honest here, no judgment. In the next chapter, we're going to tackle some of the biggest myths and social stigmas around masturbation, especially those that make you feel shame or discomfort just for seeking pleasure. Because yes, you deserve to feel good, without any guilt attached. Now that you understand the physical and emotional impacts of masturbation, it's time to face one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to pleasure: the myths and stigmas that surround masturbation, especially as we get older. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt shame or guilt for masturbating? Have you ever thought that as the years go by, it's no longer appropriate? Well, that feeling doesn't come out of nowhere. Society has spent decades reinforcing the absurd idea that pleasure has an expiration date. There's a strong stigma suggesting that after a certain age, sexuality should be put aside, as if it was something reserved only for the young. But here's a simple, liberating truth. There's no right or wrong age to feel pleasure. Desire doesn't disappear over time. It just evolves. Masturbation remains a natural part of self-care, no matter how old you are. The problem is, these myths create deep emotional blocks. The idea that seeking pleasure is something shameful or inappropriate leads many people to disconnect from their own bodies, avoiding moments that could bring happiness and well-being. And the worst part, it directly impacts mental health, feeding feelings of guilt, loneliness, and even frustration. But you don't have to carry that weight anymore. You can break free from these stigmas and redefine your relationship with pleasure. And it all starts with one simple step: giving yourself permission. Permission to feel pleasure without guilt. Permission to explore your body with curiosity, without judgment. Permission to fully live without limiting yourself to outdated rules. Now tell me, have you ever felt trapped by any of these myths? Drop a yes in the comments if it's happened to you, or no if you've already broken free. Let's open up space for honest conversations, without judgment. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to turn masturbation into something much deeper than just a physical act. I'll teach you how to create a true ritual of self-care that nourishes not only your body, but also your mind and emotions. Because pleasure isn't just momentary relief, it can be a powerful source of connection with yourself. Now that you've broken free from some of the myths that were holding you back, it's time to take an even more important step, transforming masturbation into a true self-care ritual, something that goes way beyond just physical pleasure. Let me ask you something. Have you ever really thought about how you masturbate? Because most people do it on autopilot, just focusing on the quick orgasm without actually connecting with their own body. But what if I told you that with just a few simple changes, you could turn this moment into something much deeper and more revitalizing? The key here is bringing presence and intention to the moment. It's not about getting it over with as fast as possible. It's about enjoying the journey. Instead of rushing through it or using it just to relieve stress, try seeing masturbation as a gift you're giving yourself. Find a comfortable space, free from distractions. Forget about the clock. There's no right or wrong here. The goal isn't just the climax, it's the full experience. The sensations, the connection with your body, and that intimate moment with yourself. And here's what happens when you approach it this way. Masturbation stops being a mechanical act and transforms into a deep self-care ritual. It starts nourishing not only your body, but also your mind and emotions. You feel more connected to yourself. Stress melts away, your energy starts flowing better, and most importantly, you create a space for self-love that goes far beyond that single moment. So here's a challenge for you. Next time you masturbate, try doing it more consciously. No rush, no judgments, just allowing yourself to feel and explore. And then tell me how it went. Drop a comment saying, "New experience," if you're up for the challenge. Let's work together on transforming how you connect with your own body. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about something crucial: balance. Because even when something feels great, too much of it can backfire. And I'll show you how to enjoy all the benefits without falling into any traps. Because self-care is also about knowing how to find the right balance, and I'm going to teach you how. Now that you've learned how to turn masturbation into a true self-care ritual, there's one last essential point we need to cover: balance. Because yes, even the best things can become a problem when done in excess. Masturbating can be relaxing, it can relieve stress, improve your sleep, and even strengthen your connection with your own body. But when it turns into a constant escape, like an autopilot response to boredom, frustration, or anxiety, the effect can be the exact opposite. Instead of feeling relaxed, you might end up feeling drained, disconnected, or even frustrated. And here's the red flag. When you notice that you're turning to masturbation out of habit or pure distraction without truly being present in the moment, the key is maintaining balance. Allow yourself to fully enjoy the experience with presence and intention, but don't make it your only source of pleasure or emotional relief. Your body and mind need variety, real connections, activities that challenge you, moments of introspection, and of course, pleasure. Together, these elements create a healthy and sustainable cycle. So tell me, do you think you've been keeping that balance? Drop a yes if you feel like you're on the right track, or need to improve if you think there's room for adjustment. In the next chapter, we're going beyond self-care on an individual level. I'll show you how mindful masturbation can actually strengthen your connections with others, and how it impacts the way you emotionally relate to people. Because pleasure doesn't have to be a solitary act. It can deepen your relationships too. Have you ever stopped to think about how the way you connect with yourself directly influences how you connect with others? It's true. Masturbation, when done with intention and mindfulness, not only improves your physical and emotional health, but can also deepen your relationships. When you feel comfortable with your own body, when you understand your desires and needs, it becomes much easier to open up emotionally to others. And this doesn't apply just to intimate relationships. It also impacts family bonds and friendships. You know that sense of confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what makes you feel good? It shows. You start engaging with people without fear, without the same insecurities, and with a lot more authenticity. Plus, understanding your limits and desires even improves your sex life with a partner. When you know yourself well, you can communicate better, explore new experiences, and most importantly, enjoy pleasure without guilt or shame. Mindful masturbation isn't just about solitary pleasure, it's about self-knowledge and connection. And when you truly get that, your relationships naturally become deeper and more meaningful. So tell me, do you think the way you relate to yourself has been impacting your connections with others? Write yes or haven't noticed in the comments. I'd really love to hear about your experience. And now, let's head into the final part of this incredible conversation. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Seriously, talking openly and without judgment about masturbation, pleasure, and self-care isn't easy, but it's incredibly freeing. Today, you discovered that masturbation goes far beyond just momentary pleasure. It's a powerful tool for connecting with yourself, a space for self-care, emotional balance, and even a channel for strengthening your relationships. But the most important takeaway? You now understand that when it comes to your own body, there's no right or wrong. There's only what makes you feel good, and only you can figure that out. Now, I want to leave you with one question. What's the biggest lesson you're taking from this? Drop it in the comments and share your experience. And if this content resonated with you, give it a like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep breaking these taboos and create space for more real and honest conversations about what it truly means to care for ourselves. Because pleasure doesn't have an expiration date. It's your right at every stage of life. Thank you so much for being here with me. See you in the next video.